Okay, so what I've got here is my Tandy Leather all-in-one stand finish. It's the Acorn Brown. So we're just going to go ahead and stain this. For the most part, it's pretty much cleaned up. I went ahead and cleaned up the belt loops off camera. The camera ended up dying, so we'll just go ahead and see what it does to it. It's an old t-shirt. Actually, it's a brand new old t-shirt. Wrong size, and oh well. Shouldn't take so much, but you gotta get all over. And make sure you do it evenly, because it likes to not get all over by itself. And these dyes come in all sorts of colors. I'm sure Tandy has more colors than the store does. But I think the store they had the brown, the black, and a desert sand, which would have been a kind of nice color. And I'm just going to work it in everywhere. You don't want to forget the belt loops either. That needs to be cleaned up just a little bit in there yet, but I can do that after. So it's coming along and looking much cleaner now. Just gonna work it in all over. And flip it over, and you can see the difference definitely between the colors. And it definitely changes very quickly. And I've seen some people put it on paintbrushes and then apply, but I don't want to do that. This will kind of buff it too, more or less. The edge is all in there. That's a good important part to get done, definitely the edges. let's do the back side. You want to do this on a surface that's not going to bother being messy. My new table cover here, I don't want it to get all nasty, so I went ahead and put this cover down. Now remember that the back was slightly lighter than the front side was going to be, and so overall it may look different, you know, shade wise. A lot of stain right there, just for one holster, but it's a learning experience for everybody when you first start doing this, especially for myself. I gotta be honest, this is actually the first holster I've ever made that I've actually stained. I usually don't like that look, but I'm actually liking it here. And this says to only apply one coat. One coat's preferred. Because you can definitely see why. It just it does cover a lot, and it can definitely be too much if you did more than one coat. And I'm still kind of trying to decide whether I should finish my other holster in this color or not, because I like this, but I gotta be honest, I like this a whole lot more. Just the plain Jane coloring, which, you know, as we all remember here, this was the same stuff both sides, and this was two different colors. And I don't know if you can tell in the light, this one's darker and this one's lighter, and that makes a big difference. So next video, I'm actually going to make a different video completely, will be how to form these to your revolver. Alright. Thanks for watching this section, guys. This is Ian. Have more to it coming quick. Okay guys, so now on to the final part of making this holster. This holster has been cut, sewn, burnished, and dyed all within the last 24 hours. From start to beginning yesterday, from the time that I drew the pattern out, even though I had already had the drawing out, it took me 6 hours to make this. This is all by hand. This is not by machine. You know, this is including punching, sewing, cutting. I mean, this is everything by hand. No machines other than, you know, the drill and the router that I use to do the edges. It's not perfect. It's not, you know, 100% a expensive holster or anything, but like I said, I've said many times in these sets of videos that this holster is mine and it's how I want it, and it's, you know, it's just the joy of knowing that I can make this and I can wear it and it's not going to do anything. I mean, if it rips or if the stitching comes out, I can fix it. And if the stitching comes out, I don't have to ship it back to anybody. I don't have to worry about warranty. I get to do it myself. But anyways, just to compare the two, these two leathers were the same colors, and I decided not to tan this one, or not tan it, sorry, dye this one. This is the original one I made. I decided it looked better, just like this. Now, once I get this done completely too, and molded just like this one, which I kind of think this is going to be a kind of cool thing for me to do, to have two different holsters, is because, like, you know, just a different kind of carry. I found this was like a lighter jean type carry and a short, you got khaki short carry, and these are like a dressy pant carry. So it makes a difference in the colors. I mean, overall you're carrying a gun, so it doesn't matter what color the holster is. But for me, it's just like, hey, that kind of looks cool, so why don't we do that way? But so I kept this way, kept this one stock, and this one I dyed. I'm gonna go back and saddle soak both of them. It'll soften it up, and it will kind of give it some more bending abilities. You know, just make it softer overall. But really, just tooling it and, you know, wearing it and stuff, that makes it the softest and smoothest and shiniest, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. I don't know if you can see the sheen on that in the light that I can't see that you can see, but there's a lot of difference. This one's kind of dull, so I mean, it's shiny, but not as shiny as this yet. But that's just because I haven't formed it. Now, on to the forming. What I have here with me is a homemade forming tool, which I just made this yesterday. Kind of cool, I think. Out of a 3/8 dowel. Put it on the router, and I just spun it and centered it up and sanded it down to a point, a rounded point. And you can use really whatever you want for forming, as long as it's round and everything. But I just like to use something like this. I mean, heck, the edge of this tool right here would work just fine. That would work, but it's got a small edge on that. You could sand that off and it would work. But for the most part, I like to use a pill bottle. Now, like I said, you can buy tools for this, but you know, they're expensive, and not everybody has the money to blow, you know, 20 bucks on a tool that you can make yourself at home. And I use the pill bottle for areas such as the trigger guard and the round, and pretty much just smoothing it out. That's where you get a lot of the smoothness from. Just because it's bigger in my hand, and I can make a longer stroke and not have to, you know, it's more precise for me. It's not, yeah. Okay. Anyways, so there's that. But next in the forming process, I have a little container of water. This is warm water. And I like to use warm water because I think it soaks up in the leather quicker than cool water. I mean, it's water, but the warm water seems to soak in it quicker. But you just have to be careful not to soak it too long, because then it will be too wet and you won't be able to form it right away. I mean, you won't be able to form it right away anyways, but to get the general shape of the firearm, you just want to get it, you know, in and out. Most holsters I soak for about a minute, but this one I'm going to do 30 seconds. I'm going to open it up and let it get in there, and then I'm going to lay it on this towel here, and I will, you know, soak it up as much as I can. And by doing that, that will pull a lot of the water out, squeeze and everything, and then we'll go from there. But to protect the firearm, I like to take this is just saran wrap and make it as thin and tight as possible on the firearm itself to prevent any rust to form. So most firearms aren't going to have a problem with this if you use proper lube, and this one has proper lube. So I'm still going to put this on there just for safety measure. So here we go. Okay, I just took a piece of saran wrap, wrapped it around 2 layers, and it's going to be tight enough that it won't touch the metal. It won't really affect the size overall because it's just you know, just tenths of an inch to a bigger, you know, overall. So we'll go ahead and I'll demonstrate soaking the holster or the leather. Okay, we're going to open it up, make sure the insides can get okay and wet. And there, just lay it in. And the dye does like to come off a little bit. So, let me show you what I like to do there. Before we turn it on the towel, we'll just soak that all up. And we may have to go back later and re-dye it. This gives a nice, weird, awesome little look here. Anyways, just gonna soak it in there. Get it out. Gonna dry it off. Now this is not the professional way to do this, not at all. This is my way of doing it. So. Okay, it's wet in there, just enough to be able to form it to the firearm, and you are going to feel a lot of resistance and think it won't fit, but believe me, it will fit. You just got to get it pushed. And you're going to want to line the back up and let me get over here. Line the back and the front, top up, at the center of it. And I like to kind of just bend it already. Alright, push, push, push. It's in there all the way. Leather stretches very well. Okay, so now we're just going to take this tool and get it wet a little bit on the outside. Start off just doing some small formations with the bottle, and it's going to take a lot of the dye and squeeze it out. Okay. I'm going to go to the other side. Get it started. It does take quite a bit to even start. Now it kind of burnishes the materials as you're rubbing it, which is not a bad thing. Just gotta form it to the cylinder there. And we're gonna go down here. And you're just basically, you know, obviously forming the firearm to the leather. And you can always go back and change it. You can fine tune it, that's why if I'm making any more marks that are kind of unusual, it's because I can go back and change it later, anyways. Just get it all formed in there. And it may seem like it's kind of discolored, I mean it is, but we can go back and re-dye it, and that will change a lot of that very quick. Kind of antiques the leather. And I know this is kind of an untraditional way of holster making for the most part, but I'm working with minimal tools. This whole thing was just about that. Okay, we'll just this formed here. Okay, I'm going to do some more forming and I'll bring you back. Okay, so now it's been, oh goodness, probably 6 or 7 hours since I first went ahead and I stained this. I stained this yesterday, let it dry overnight, and then this morning I went ahead and took the firearm and wrapped it in plastic. As you can see, and I molded it, molded the holster to it. And then I let the holster and the gun with it sitting inside it dry in front of a fan for 6 or 7 hours. And as you can see, washing it took a lot of the, or putting it in water and forming it took a lot of the color out of it, but it put a lot of different shades in it. And I thought about leaving it, but I'm going to go ahead and put an extra coat of the stain to it. As you can see, there's still kind of a difference in the shades, but not as dark as I wanted it to be originally. And I had some messes that I had to clean up here anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and restain this and go from there. And as you can see, for the most part, these are identical, and except for the belt loops, even after forming it. So I'll go ahead and remove the gun completely. I'm just going to remove the saran wrap, and the saran wrap's only to protect it. And I made sure to put some Birchwood Casey sheath rust preventative on there. It's always good to, for your guns anyways. And I do this every time I get them done, or get them out and everything. Got to wipe them down. But it was good, especially for keeping it in the holster. And so I'll go ahead and put it in the completed one. And we're going to go and I'm going to cut my shirt down one more time. And we're going to go ahead and restain this. And I forgot to mention, this is the water after I soaked it earlier from forming it. You're going to need to form it. And it's pretty nasty. But for the most part, the holster itself looks pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and we'll just shake the stain up. Okay. Being careful not to get anything on the firearm and the other sheath, because I don't want, or the other holster, and I don't want it to be nasty itself. Okay. So what we're going to do is just take a rag and move it around all over. Now I'm going to assume that more colors will be coming out in the leather now, since I went ahead and put it in the water and kind of discolored it. Make sure you get all the edges, and I like to get a little bit of the inside. I figured out last night when I was doing the my other holster, I like to just get it inside of this just a little bit. Now I'm using a lot more than most would be using. And I'm not really thinning it out at all. I guess you could put a little bit of water to it and it might thin it out just a little bit. But I want it to get a certain color and sheen to it. And after this dries, I'm going to buff it out with another rag, and then I'm going to get some shoe polish, leather polish, and really polish it out. And I'll do the other side here. It's getting there. Just a little bit more, and I think it'll, a little bit more over here will get it to the point it needs to be. Okay, now I'm going to take my brush. I'm just going to brush the inside just a little bit. Make sure to get in these creases here. Make sure to get in the belt loops. And then especially down here at the end of the holster itself, so we can kind of spread that apart. Alright, now we're going to take this other rag and we'll just buff it out a little bit. Fill the spots. Just really want to get the excess off of there. I want that extra sheen on there. Okay. Alrighty, there you go. I'm gonna let this hang and dry in a cool room all night, and I'll come back tomorrow and I will show you the end results. Hopefully it's very, very pretty. Thanks for watching.